Hello, welcome to Birthing Purpose with Lana. I am Claudia Mack, and today I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing the founder, the creator, the brains behind Birthing Your Purpose with Lana. Today, I want to introduce you to someone very special. Lana is an educator. She's an author. She's a talk show host. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's so many things, right? She is the creator of Birthing Purpose Workshop, which is an ebook and a talk show, Birthing Purpose with Lana, which is copyrighted, so don't try it. She is the creator and founder of Liberty in Christ Ministries, and today she is going to be talking about her birthing journey with that incredible ministry that is impacting so many lives around the country. She is hot, and I am so excited. So this is what I want you to do. Get you a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, because we getting ready to hear from the founder, and it's going to be great. Hey, Lana, how are you?
I am good. What an amazing introduction. I'm a little nervous now. I have to live up to this.
Oh, yeah. You all don't even be worried about it. So listen to these analogies that she has. Birthing your purpose is so much like being pregnant with a child. And the first way it begins is with pregnancy conception. So Lana, when you think about your journey and we talk about having a relationship with God as a part of this process, when you think about your journey to birthing Liberty in Christ Ministries, what was that pregnancy conception like? What was it like when you were first told, or when it first hit your spirit that this is what God wanted you to do?
Well, previously I had worked in the Deliverance Ministry for 8 years, and then that ministry ended at that church. And so I was grieving using my gift in that way. So I would always visit churches to try to get into another deliverance ministry, but the churches didn't have them and they didn't seem to want them. So I spent years operating in other ministries because that's all I could do, but still secretly grieving that ministry. And it wasn't until I spoke with a leader in one of the churches, and she explained, you're grieving, you're really grieving it. So I said, let me go into prayer and fasting. And I went into prayer and fasting, and on Easter of 2016, the Lord said, start your own deliverance ministry. And that's how I surrendered, because previously people were telling me, start your own deliverance ministry, start your own deliverance ministry, but I've always worked with a team, and I just didn't want to do that. And so it was, once I surrendered to doing that, it's like a weight lifted off of me. And I called the lady, the pastors who trained me in deliverance. They're out of Tampa, Florida, Warfare Plus Ministries. Shout out to Paul and Claire Hollis. Paul is not with us anymore, but I kind of ran past her, and she's like, yes, do it. And the rest is history.
So she saw that you were ready. So it was the acceptance period. When you see that line on that pregnancy test, you're like, okay, this is the real thing. It's still kind of like, okay, this is happening. Right. And so your whole thing is like, okay, this is happening. This is what I picture, but this is happening. So there was an acceptance even at conception, because just because God gives you something doesn't mean that you have to accept it and run with it, but you accepted the call.
Eventually, yes, because I fought it. I didn't want to start my own deliverance ministry. I wanted to get with a church, and they had one, and then I just went under there.
Of course, kind of like adopted. I don't want to go through the birthing process. I just, if you could just, someone else, kind of like a surrogate, if you could have the baby and then give it to me, then I could like take care of it like it's my own. But really, if you go through that, but she wanted to do the surrogate thing, and God like, no, I'm like you. And you're going to birth it, and you're going to nurture it, and it's going to suck from your breast. That's how it went. Hallelujah, that she obeyed, right? Good thing, good thing.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
So, at a point in time, there is a gender reveal. A lot of us want to know, what is the baby? there is this unveiling of this life, this purpose that's growing inside of you. And so you talked a little bit about how God revealed it to you, but tell us more about the theme of your life and what this ministry began to mean to you, because as it's growing inside of you, you're feeling it kicking and you're feeling it moving. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes. So the theme of my life has always been warfare, unfortunately. And I remember Juanita Bynum saying, whatever you were doing in the world, when you come in the kingdom, God will use you in that way. So I was always warned some kind of way. You know, people say, oh, you should be a good attorney. You know how to argue well, you know, and all this kind of stuff. And I was always advocating for people and fighting for what was right and justice. So when I got saved, it just changed. I started to do spiritual warfare instead of that natural warfare. So yeah, war has always been the theme of my life. And
so it just made sense for this to be.
Yeah. And I didn't know anything about deliverance until probably like 2008, when a lady was telling me that she worked in a 2006, when I met somebody at the post office, and she said, why don't you come out to deliverance night at my church? And something in my spirit was like, deliverance. That sounds like something I need. I'm coming. And I went there, and it was an amazing experience there. And then then that was that. But then in 2008, when another lady said, I work in the deliverance ministry, and I was like, here it is again. And so from there, that I was like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in the deliverance ministry. Yes.
Feeding that baby, nurturing it. And it's like your spirit knows. Right? Even when your flesh is unwilling or your flesh is unsure, your spirit was like, get there. Your spirit's like, you need that. Your spirit, pay attention to the signs. Here it is again. So on your journey in this gender reveal, it's like it's being revealed over and over again of what you're supposed to do and how you nurture this baby.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes. I love it. Awesome. So then there's a pregnancy confirmation. And a little bit of this was when your ministry was being confirmed, but was there a word from the Lord? Was there someone calling you? Was there this wrestling in your spirit? What happened that really, really confirmed for you that moment where you said, this is what I need to do? And not only that, this is what I'm going to do. What was it for you that made you sure that this is what you were supposed to do?
Well, for me, it was prophetic words. People were coming, speaking prophecy over me, telling me, you have healing hands. On several occasions, people were saying, you have healing hands. People would ask me to pray for them, and I would, lay hands on wherever was the problem. Someone came to me and said, my arm, I prayed. She was like, my arm doesn't hurt anymore. It went away. I mean, so that confirmation of my gifts, moving forward. And just for years, people says, oh, you have this gift of discernment, and that's something that you need for the deliverance ministry. You need to be able to discern spirits to be able to cast them out. So I just think continual prophecy of the gifts that God put in me at work. So that was further confirmation for me.
Like you are pregnant. You got this morning sickness. You got this, your appetite, certain smells make you nauseous. It's kind of like everywhere you go, you're like, okay, I know I'm pregnant, but it's like confirmation. You're craving certain foods that you didn't crave before. You don't like the foods that you did like before. You're throwing up a little bit. You want to sleep all the time. It's all these signs and confirmation. The baby is there, but now you're getting prophetic words. People coming to you out the woodworks, asking you to pray. It's the same way in that you having different confirmations. Just like, okay, I know it's a baby in there, but now it's like more confirmation. So this is good when you are able to understand what these are. It's not, oh yeah, they just asked me to pray. Were you keen and you tuned in like, no, okay, this is more confirmation for me. I'm on the right path. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So then there's this pregnancy attitude, speaking of throwing up and morning sickness and all that, because we can make you like, you know what? It ain't worth it, right? So we have the good attitudes where you're expecting, especially when everything is going right? Well, if you don't have morning sickness and everything is good and you didn't get fat yet, you can still fit your clothes and everything is fine. Doctor's appointments are good. We have a certain attitude. But then you got morning sickness. You don't feel like going to work. Your attitude is shifted. You can't fit your clothes. You in that stage where you can't fit the pregnancy clothes, but you can't fit your old clothes. Your attitude can change when things don't quite go the way you envision it. So what has been your predominant pregnancy attitude while you were carrying this baby of Liberty in Christ Ministries?
I think I was radical. I was happy. I was excited. I was radical. Especially after I started getting the training and I started actually operating in the deliverance ministry before birthing my own deliverance ministry. I mean, I could do deliverance all day long. Wow. I mean, without any food, hadn't eaten. I mean, I remember being a part of a team of people that went to Barbados for 9 days to do a deliverance conference. And I fasted for it because I do fast before I do people's deliverance. And I would do 2-3 deliverances a day, wouldn't eat till like 2 o'clock at night. And I wasn't even hungry. They made me eat because it was like, I was on the type of Wonder Woman, my attitude was one of zeal and just radical and couldn't get enough of it. It was like, who's the next person? Let's go.
Is a demon over there? Let's go. Is a demon over there? Let's go.
Where's the demons at? Where they at? Where the demons at?
Right. Wow.
Yes, I was excited and I was serious about deliverance ministry. And anybody else in the deliverance ministry that I didn't feel was serious enough, I was mad. Like, I used to be a trip. I'm like, don't be looking at your watch when you're doing somebody's deliverance. I used to get on people in the team, like, you're doing somebody's deliverance and somebody's looking at their watch. You're like, well, are you present? Or you want to rush?
Yeah.
It takes time. So I was just radical and very, very particular about how it went. And I just wanted it to be done in excellence.
Yeah. You were really nurturing. When we think about ingesting the right things, you talked about eating physically, but eating even spiritually and making sure we have the right people around us who are making sure that we are taking care of the baby, that we are paying attention to, and how you were taking care of the baby. It's like this needs to be done in excellence. This isn't anything haphazard. This isn't anything that is just a hobby. Right. But this is something in me, being birthed in me, and I need to take care of it. And one way to take care of it is to make sure I'm having the right people around me and that they have the same heart that I have, that they want to nurture the baby and make sure, hey, don't slip and fall. Okay, make sure you eat, making sure that I'm taking care of myself. So that's awesome. And that's just one thing to think about, having the right people in your circle and making sure you're being careful about how you're treating this baby. Wow. Yes. Excellent. So with that, having the right people around you, a lot of times that is a doctor. And so these are your God appointments. This is the way that you are making sure that your baby is growing correctly. Okay, I hear the heartbeat. I still hear the heartbeat of this vision or this baby. And these are going well. This is what you can expect. Sometimes when it comes closer to the end of the birth, you're going more often. But when you had your God appointments, what were those like when you were birthing your ministry?
I'm going to be honest. It was a little fearful when I went out on my own to do my own, start my own deliverance ministry. As long as I was with the team, I was like, but then when I was trying to do it on my own, I was just nervous. I began to be a little fearful, because, stories about witches and witches coming to deliverance just to war with you. And I'm like, nah, I'm on my own. And yes, I have this covering, but my covering's in Tampa, Florida. for the ministry, and it's just me and whoever I bring in, like an intercessor, you know, and things like that. So I was a little fearful. So I had to stay in prayer. I had to stay in prayer. I had to stay in praise and worship. I had to stay just learning, reading books about deliverance to build up my encouragement and know that no weapon formed against me shall prosper. There's no witch out there that's bigger than God, and God had me and all that. So those what my doctor's appointments look like. Just
that's amazing.
stand.
What were some of the things that God would tell you to comfort you? Because I love the fact that you said, and I love your honesty when you're like, I'm gonna be for real. I was scared. You know, there was a little fear there going out on my own. What were some of the things that God would use to comfort you and say, daughter, I have you and you're ready for this? Because maybe sometimes we don't feel like we're ready. Like if we feel a birthing pain that comes before, like, oh, wait a minute, I'm only 30 weeks. I'm not ready to give birth to this thing yet. This hold on, I needed to stay in. What were some of the ways that God, you know, they'll put that suture in there to keep the baby in. What were some of the ways that God comforted you and let you know that it was okay and you were in fact ready to do this, that the baby was growing, you were on the right track, keep going? Was there anything that he would say to you or anything that brought you comfort, or maybe he would send someone to you? How would that work?
Just think provision is what comforted me, to let me know that he was with me and he had me. Provision, providing the covering. She started sending me all these free resources and said, copy whatever, use whatever. She didn't care about copyright. She wasn't like, buy all my stuff. And then she's like, no, use my, she was like, you know, take whatever you want off my website, create your own website. Here's my book.
Wow.
Copy what you want to make your own manual, do whatever. So that was showing me that God was on my side. And just historically throughout life, anytime somebody did try to come up against me, God always had my back and covered me. And it was like, they're coming after me, they hurt themselves. And God was saying,
come on,
I got you. You know, so I think the protection, he's always reminding me of, remember when this happened? Remember when so-and-so tried to do it? Remember? So it's like, if I protected you with all these people, I got you when it comes to a witch or whatever these things. Or people trying to naysayers and trying to say, be careful. Or another thing, people were saying, well, you know, when you start doing the deliverance ministry, you better watch out because your marriage gonna get attacked, and this gonna get attacked, and that's gonna get attacked. And I'm like, all this stuff was getting attacked before I started doing deliverance ministry.
Might as well be his will getting attacked.
Exactly. Like he's been attacking me my whole life before I even knew about deliverance. So really, I'm like, no, I gotta go forward and and do this thing. I can't be concerned. So just a lot of him, just the comfort came from the memories. The memories showing me how he's always had me, and the provision, just providing for me. And people sending people to me saying, so-and-so said they want to work in the deliverance ministry too. They feel that like that's their calling. And I would then get with them and, you know, talk with them and get them along on the team as the intercessor and things like that. So yeah, that's
wow. That allows you to dig your roots in deep. And I think for a lot of people, once they start to walk in purpose and see some kind of success, and they get the big head. But with your kind of ministry, girl, I'm so glad that you didn't get the big head, because you could have got jacked up out there. Well, you know, like, no, my dependence is on God. I rely on him. So those kind of God appointments, make sure that, look, okay, yeah, you carrying the baby, but you still need to go to that doctor. I love that it just reminded you of how much you needed him, and then he could remind you of how much he's there for you. That was amazing. Yeah. So your prenatal vitamins, which is really good, because we talked about the things that people say and you like, I'm not receiving that, right? But what was it that you were doing in regards to scriptures or songs or motivational videos? I know you talked about your mentor being a great help to you, and that speaks to what kind of caliber woman she is, because you are so right. People want to sell you everything. You're like, I thought I was your mentee. I thought, like, you had me, right? But that speaks to the kind of woman that she is, and pour that down right into you. So you're going to be that same kind of woman when you mentor people, ma'am. I
am, because I do my birthing purpose workshops, deliverance for free. While other people charging for
Yes.
they charge
Yes.
for deliverance. I mean, so even my mentor charges for deliverance. Yeah.
That same spirit passed down because of the way you took care of your baby. So what was it? What was it that kept you up? It kept your energy, because we need those vitamins to keep our energy up, because you're just tired, to make sure the baby's getting nutrients. What did you do?
Church, just made sure I stayed in church and stayed around the right people.
Yes.
Life into me. I have a lot of people who really encourage me along the way, intercessors, people with prophetic gifts, just family, my dad, he just believing in me, my family. My husband was the one who told me to start it in the first place. And I was like, no. He's like, start your own ministry. We going to all these different churches, visiting here. Start your own, start your own. Stop looking for a deliverance ministry somewhere. And so, yeah, so that's what kept me going. Thanks, hon.
Yeah. Kind of like that when people say, you look like you might be pregnant. We like, no, I just had my cycle. I ain't pregnant. I'm good. They're like, you getting a little top heavy. You kind of glowing. You looking different. So your husband was able to see that. Like, no, you need to start your own. You looking a little pregnant. You looking a little pregnant with purpose. You need to start. You like, I'm good. And then you get that confirmation. You like, oh, woo. Thank God for hubby. So also while you're pregnant, when we talk about vitamins, things that you take in, there are things that you don't want to take in. There are some restrictions, whether it's people, whether it's activities or habits or ways of thinking, places. Were there any restrictions that you found that you put in place that will help to foster a healthy growth of your baby or of this ministry? What did you restrict yourself from? And it's different for everybody. So share with us some of the things that you refrained from to make sure that your baby was growing in a healthy way.
Like I said, just stop listening to the naysayers with all their scary stories.
Scary stories.
Scary stories about when they were in deliverance. Goodbye. I had to get goodbye to that. I had to restrict myself from behaving in a way that ungodly way. Just making sure that I stayed on my P's and Q's, because you're doing deliverance and people are going to be like, oh, you casting out demons, but look at you, So I had to make sure that anything in my life, as far as attitude, unforgiveness, any of that, I had to make sure that I did not walk in any of that. And I walking in the fruit of the spirits. I love, joy, peace, patience. I had to walk in that, and because people are watching you, and they would be the first to say, look at you, So I definitely had to make sure that I stayed walking in a way that makes God pleasing.
Restricted how much that flesh ruled, because that's be like, but I think that's good because of the example, and because I like that. And a lot of times when we are walking in purpose, we have to think about that. We can't do, I'm walking in purpose, I can do what I want. No, you can't. There are definitely restrictions, and I think that's admirable that you would say, hey, I did a heart check. At a doctor, you go to your doctor's appointments, and that's a part of your doctor's appointments. You go and you do a heart check, like, Lord, if there's any unforgiveness, it's anger, bitterness, any place where the fruit of the spirit is not welcome, or I'm not operating in that, then help me. But I think that's very honest and very useful information, that we sometimes think that just because we're walking in purpose and it's successful, that that's the end all to be all, but it's not.
Right.
God still wants our hearts to be right, and for you to be intentional about like, no, I ain't going out like that. For you to say, no, Lord, examine my heart, show me what is in me. I think that's very honorable, Lana. I think so. I think that's a good tip as well. Very good tip. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So before the baby come, because I know I took Lamar's class, girl, the baby is growing, it's getting time, you're getting a little more nervous. You're like, ooh, wee. Right? So there was such a big gap in between my first daughter and my son. I took those Lamaze classes. So that's that training, how to breathe, what to do. It's like, okay, it's coming, but this is how you could be a little methodical about it to get your training. Was there any type of training besides the training that you had? A lot of hands-on training, and for deliverance ministry, I know that that is key, because some of that stuff you can't just read a book, honey. You have to be immersed in it. But what do you think, as a matter of fact, more to the point, what do you think was your most useful, beneficial, most powerful training that you had? And you can tell us about all the training that you had, but what do you think benefited you the most in regards to your Lamaze classes or your training?
I do think hands-on is good, but you cannot do hands-on with deliverance until you have that head knowledge. So I would say Warfare Plus Ministries Break Free training. Also, I went through training on Church on the Summit. Church on the North Coast had another training. I mean, I just went through all these deliverance training, got all these certifications, because deliverance is nothing you want to go in just, I'll figure it out as I go, hands on. Like, you know, because there's a lot of do's and don'ts. And so you got to know those. You got to know what you're doing. That's nothing you just want to just jump in, especially at the degree as to where we deliver. See, most churches just say, come up to the altar, spirit of lust, go, and that's that. And then the person say, you know, yeah, amen, and they go sit down. But the way we do deliverance is spirit, like so the way we do deliverance, you know, it's more intense. We call off every spirit that there is, whether you say you have it or not, because we just want to make sure that nothing is hiding, because sometimes spirits are dormant, you know. But before we even get to that part, we educate everybody first. Then you have homework to do, where you close those doors that were open. Then the third part is we're just finishing it off. So by you know, getting educated, then doing your homework, deliverance is already started. Some people get trained when they start doing their homework. By the time you get to the third phase, and we're just going down the stronghold list and calling that stuff off and breaking the generational curses to all of that stuff, it's the final cleanup. And then after that, we teach you how to stay free. So it's like 4 steps. So it's more detailed than just altar, little prayer, which that's good too. But a lot of times that spirit is connected to some other stuff. And if you don't deal with that other spirit, this one's coming back. And the Bible talks about it coming back 7 times stronger. So that's why when we do deliverance, we call all of them off. You know, not just the one, because they group, and you got to know the groups, and you got to know all that. So it's a little bit more in depth. But it's not the scary deliverance that you know you see people like falling all out and all this stuff. It's not like that, because according to the creator of these trainings and the School of Deliverance, when you take people through the education and then they do their homework, you'll see less manifestations. You won't see all that stuff, because the deliverance has already started at their home in their private time. So you're not going to see all that manifestation. So that's the way we do it, So so all that. I also have a master's in education, curriculum and instruction. So that helped me to be able to write the curriculum for this workshop, and to just be able to teach about it before I actually do the deliverance. So so that's my Lamaze class. And then
honey, you was ready to push, honey. You've been ready to push.
And of course, the School of Hard Knocks. You cannot listen. That helps too. That school as well. Yes. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Now, you did all of that, right? And now you got to prepare before the baby comes. So you're walking in steps here and there, and you're doing this nursery, and you're preparing. You have the baby shower. People are excited. They're seeing you. They're like, she is showing. The ministry is growing. The baby is growing. And so now it's preparing. What kind of preparations have you needed in regards to funding or equipment or the different things that you needed for the baby to come in and be comfortable and really grow on the outside as well as it's been growing on the inside, what did you have to do?
I had to get covering. So that's why I reached out to New Beginnings Church in Tampa, Florida, their Warfare Plus Ministries that they have out of their church. Also, I had to reach out to intercessors because you need intercessors to stand at the side and pray while doing deliverance. I had to get a website to be able to give people more information about deliverance ministry. Manuals. I had to create the manuals for Liberty in Christ Ministries, business cards, T-shirts. Those are, and a place to do deliverance because we come to your home. But sometimes, because people are more comfortable in their home, and we also pray over the land and the home before we even do your deliverance.
Oh,
For anything that may have been on the land before you got there or in that house before you got there, we deal with the land and the house before we do your deliverance. So, but in cases when we're not able to come to someone's home, I needed a place. And so those are some of the things that I needed to do Liberty in Christ Ministries, whether it be the library, for which Birthing Purpose came out of Liberty in Christ Ministry. So those are some of the things. And I couldn't really market, which I didn't market because I was taught that you don't market, let word of mouth really bring people to you. So I didn't do any marketing per se. Yeah. So that's kind of what was needed for that nursery.
Yes, but God has been a good marketer. Because now it's coming back into fruition again. And once the baby is born, it's amazing that maybe while you're pregnant, everybody isn't paying attention. You think people don't know you're pregnant, but once the baby gets here, it's like, oh, we want to see the baby. Oh, what does it look like? People get really curious. So maybe not as the baby was growing, but now that you're doing these different ventures, now the baby is getting ready to be on display for show. And the baby is cute. I love the baby. Okay. So once the baby is here, or even before it gets here, there is prioritizing and you're figuring out what needs to be done. And I think this is a good life skill. So trying to avoid your overloaded schedule or making sure you're getting the proper rest. What are some of the things that you had to do in order to prioritize to make sure that you were ready?
A good old planner, calendar.
Oh, planner, baby. Yes.
And just scheduling that time. I usually do the deliverance sessions on the weekends. And because I am an educator and we have the summers off or, the holidays, Christmas vacation, we have Thanksgiving time off, Easter time off. I had all this time where I could just focus on those deliverance sessions. So just the scheduling of it, just making sure I did it on the weekends or on those during that time off, and did one a day and didn't wild out like I initially get all radical and doing 3 and 4 a day and just just making sure that I paced myself and just one a day, and that's about it. Yeah, so that's kind of how I prioritize.
So it's definitely beneficial to use wisdom while you are prioritizing. Yes. Even walking in purpose, even having success, even know what you're doing, getting the training, doing your vitamins, doing your God calls. He still wants us to use wisdom because you use wisdom like, hey, I still on a schedule. I am open to what God is saying and doing, but it is on a schedule. And I need to make sure that I'm doing it in a wise way.
That's right.
And once you've done that, here we go with something that may not be on the schedule, honey, because when those contractions hit, those labor pains, goodness gracious, you like, oh my goodness, just leave the baby. Either leave it in here or get it out. Whatever you do, stop the pain. And just in regards to purpose, that could be those roadblocks, that temptation to want to give up. That could be those negative naysayers, those negative Nancy's, those contractions where you're like, oh man, it hits you like you didn't think you were going to birth this baby without any pain, did you? What are some of the contractions or the labor pains that you experienced while birthing your ministry?
I think initially, one of my little weaknesses is when the Lord gives me something to do, I like to pull everybody in. All right, come on, we all doing all this. Come on, y'all, everybody.
You told me, come on.
The Lord's like, no, I told you to do it. I didn't.
Right.
You pulling all these people in, so getting the wrong people.
Yeah.
I first started off with was me and another young lady that was going to do it, but she didn't have the same vision about it. We couldn't even come to terms on the name. And the more I started to talk with her, she couldn't tell me how it benefited her, how deliverance, because she'd been through deliverance and she couldn't tell me. So it was like, yeah, I think somebody who I go into this with has to be gung-ho about it, know that it works, and I don't think she could say it worked that well in her life. She just wanted to support me, and she does think it's a good thing, and she knows it works for other people, but it didn't really work for her. And there's a lot of reasons why deliverance may not work for you, because it's not about this one-time thing and then that's it. It's like you have to stay free. Whatever you were cutting out before to get free, you have to stay. You got to keep that thing out. So a lot of times after people go through deliverance, they go right back to what they were doing, being with that guy, doing whatever. And then you want to know why. You have to do the work. Like I love this. I would say you got to do the work. You got to stay in your word, keep the negative people out. You got to do the work to stay free. And so although I believe she got free, she didn't stay free. So some people will blame deliverance on, the deliverance don't work. No, you didn't work it. It does work. Yeah, it does work. Those were some of the labor pains. I was just kind of like, people, am I going to get the right team? And eventually I did. Yeah, eventually I did. So I think that was my biggest labor pain was, yeah.
And a learning lesson indeed, because a lot of times we do learn what not to do. We like to learn about what to do, but we learn what not to do as well.
Yes.
So after you have the baby, there is a chance of postpartum depression, especially if you had a bad labor, right? Like if, for example, that didn't go well and you didn't learn that lesson. So you could have depression because of unrealistic expectations. Maybe your ministry doesn't look the way you thought it was going to look. Maybe you thought it was going to be greater, have a bigger impact. It's not going as quickly as you think. Were there any signs of postpartum depression after you birthed your ministry?
Yeah, I think for me, at first it was going great. We were getting all these people signed up and it was just like, wow. And then it slowed down. So I didn't particularly like that. I think that, and then the place that we had to use at this really, prominent church in rural Ohio, we were doing deliverances in one of those rooms there. Eventually the pastor wanted that room back. He wanted the intercessory room back. So then that took away a place we could do deliverance at if we couldn't go to the person's home. So that was a little like, back to the drawing board, trying to find another place to do it if we can't go to the babies. We can't go to the person's house. So yeah, that makes sense. That was a little like bummer. Yeah.
Now, if the baby becomes sick, because there's different things that we have to deal with. We can birth the baby and the doctor like, hey, something is going on here. If the baby becomes sick or something happens in that regard, has that ever happened to you where you had to troubleshoot what the problems were and if there was something that you needed to tweak in your ministry to make it better or to get it well?
Yeah, I had to find another place.
Yeah, I know that led right into that, huh?
I had to find another place. And I think to be honest, it might still be a little sick because I do think that I do need to do some marketing.
Okay.
This,
Yeah.
this may help, but I think I need to do some marketing and not just rely totally on word of mouth. But it's almost like when Birthing Purpose came, it was almost like I started focusing more on the Birthing Purpose workshops. And I feel like, so, you know, I do both, but I think the focus has been for the Birthing Purpose workshop because I believe the Lord has said, yeah, you've been delivering people from some things. And now I'm having you in a season when you deliver people to their purpose.
That makes sense.
So now
you're just finding that balance.
Babies. Yeah, you're delivering babies now, you know. So, but I definitely will always, deliverance is my first love. So I'll be always doing both. But I think the focus now is just delivering people to their purpose.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So in the case of premature birth, do you think that, you know, sometimes we can get in a rush for things, or sometimes we can get impatient, have the wrong motives? A lot of different things can cause a premature birth. Did you ever at one time experience what you thought were premature labor pains, and then you had to like shift your focus, like, wait a minute, let me get this thing right? Or do you think that you were pretty much in God's timing with everything?
For me, I think that I was more overdue.
Wow.
You know,
love it. Overdue.
Yeah, I think a little overdue. Yeah.
And why? Because it could be different reasons. Why were you overdue, Lana?
Fear. Not wanting to do it on my own.
Yeah.
You know, that was the big thing. Just not wanting to do it alone.
Yes.
And so I think that's what was the delay, but it all worked.
It really did. It
really worked out. Yeah.
We are looking at a healthy toddler that's getting ready to has a baby brother called Birthing Your Purpose. So now you got two kids. You got two kids here now. You done birthed two babies. You know? Amazing. So were there any red flags that you noticed with this ministry? Anything that wasn't quite right, again, with that tweaking stage? And I think you really talked a lot about this in regards to making sure that you were around the right people, making sure that the people who were in your ministry had the heart for the ministry like you did. So you really did kind of address some red flags, but is there anything else that stood out as a red flag to you that said, hey, pay attention to me, pay attention to me? Oh, I love that laugh. Here we go. This is about to get good, y'all. But that laugh right there is about to get good.
No. I'm just laughing because, you know, I think the red flags for my purpose was I was trying to do everything else but the deliverance ministry. Well, because I didn't want to I didn't want to go out and do my own deliverance ministry. So when churches did not have deliverance ministry, then I start trying to do all these other ministries. And that was a red flag for me. I tried to be on the praise team. I tried to be an altar worker, and I still love doing altar work. But the church I was in, the way they did altar work was not what I was used to doing. I mean, I'm used to really praying and doing mild deliverance at the altar, just, you know, a little praying for some things. But all they told you to do is, you know, during if someone goes to the altar and they kneel down, you just cover them up. Just cover up their butts. That's it. That's all I would do as an altar worker. I'm like, just hand out tissue and cover butts. Like, that's all. How did I go from Warren to just?
Y'all see why you see why she got it going on, don't you?
What covering? Just cover up the butt. You know, I'm like, oh, and then I was like, oh no, no. So, and then and so that was a red flag for me. Like, you do it, you're neglecting yourself, you're neglecting what God has called you to do.
That's good. That's good.
And so I was like, yeah, this is not Yeah.
That is really, really good.
Yeah.
That seed, that thing you know you should be doing. And I love how you said, how do I go from walking in this thing to now it seemed like I didn't digress to do. It's like you don't even feel right not walking in purpose. You know, it's like your soul, your spirit is like, no, especially when you regress. That was such a good point. Such a good point.
I regress. So I was just so happy when God rerouted me because yeah, he's just amazing that way. So glory to him. He gets all the glory.
Yes. So during the wait, while you were waiting, you talked about some of the things that you did, but are there any key areas that you want to share with your audience that really helped you to birth the healthy baby? Because a lot of people can birth something, but that don't mean it's healthy. It have all kind of stuff going on with it, you know? And so are there any other things that you want to share that you did to help your baby be healthy once it was here?
I just stayed in the word, try to live the best life that I could, live according to the word. That was it, and kept doing, fasting, a lot of fasting. Oh my gosh, fasting, prayer and fasting is so powerful. Praying and fasting, and I kept taking my own self through deliverance because I was taught that, take your own self through deliverance or go through deliverance at least once a year to clean up. So I would at least once a year I would clean up during the wait. Just wanted to make sure that my heart stayed right. And those are some of the things that I did. And a lot of reflecting to some my pre-Jesus days when I was doing things pre-Jesus days where I was all out the wheel, and just some of the consequences to those pre-Jesus days. And all of that helped me to just stay on the path and stay on the straight and narrow, because I definitely didn't want to revisit those times and those consequences. So those are some of the things that I did during the wait, is reflecting on how those bad choices that I made got me in a lot of trouble. You said,
I
still remember the sirens, the police sirens, and police chases, and hanging out with drug dealers and crack houses and all this old craziness that, God was like, girl.
Right.
Like, what you could do. You playing around, Yeah. Always was handling my business as far as going to school and always working, and, bought my first home at 24 and always doing that kind of stuff. But just the company I was keeping and some of the pain they caused me and stuff like that. So anyway, during the wait, reflecting on all that, and was like, no, not going back there. Yes. So that's.
I love the reflection piece, because sometimes we forget about that. And this was definitely, it leads right into the GPS, God's positioning system, or making sure that you are rerouted, and not even just back to the old way, but back to something better, that you're rerouted to something better, because you went from deliverance to regression of doing what you knew was not the fullness of what the baby was about, and now you're doing something better. So is it anything that you want to share about that journey to getting rerouted? Like I said, you shared a lot, in regards to and checking your heart and reflecting and just being honest and authentic. Like, hey, there's some things that I have to cut out, and it starts with me and the whole, cleansing myself and make sure that I'm clean. All of those things serve to get you rerouted back to or into something even greater. Is there anything else that you want to share in regards to that?
No, that's really it. Just be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Have the right people around you. Stay connected to God, and sow in the lives of others. When you are blessing others, blessings come on you. You reap what you sow. Yeah.
If that's the case, you're getting ready to be seriously blessed because you are blessing people and you need her contact information. So get a pen, paper. Hopefully you've had a pen and paper this whole time taking notes. If you want to reach Lana, guess what? She does free coaching and delivering sessions. That's how much it is her passion, that it is free. Coaching and deliverance sessions. On Instagram, it is Birthing Purpose with Lana. That's again on Instagram. That is Birthing Purpose with Lana. Her email is birthingpurposewithlana@gmail.com. So look, y'all can't forget this. It's Birthing Purpose with Lana. Again, her email is birthingpurposewithlana@gmail.com. And her website, there's more, is Liberty in Christ. Is that .life? Liberty in Christ life, right? Is that right?
libertyinchrist.life.
.life. Liberty in Christ.life. So you have 3 ways besides dropping her a message and subscribing to this channel. 3 ways to reach Lana. You know you need it. Liberty in Christ Ministries. It's been amazing to learn about the birthing process. You can find all of her information either on her website or reach out to her. She will be more than happy to give you more information in regards to Liberty in Christ, breaking the shackles. This is what she does. This is what she was born for. So we want you to reach out to her, and it's been amazing finding out what the founder, her birthing process. It's been great. It's been a great journey. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you. So if anyone wants to visit the website, here is the deliverance process. It's a 5-step deliverance process. Oh, there's music on the website. I forgot.
Hey.
So then there's the strongholds that we will call on for you. This is the stronghold listing: haughty, deaf and dumb, slumber, divination, on and on and on. In the name of Jesus. All right, here is the School of Deliverance to learn about the 5-step deliverance training. If you want it at your church, I can come and teach you how to start your own deliverance ministry. And here are some recommended books that helped me. This Means War by Paul Hollis and Claire Hollis. That's who covers me. Exposing and Spelling Strongholds by Dr. Paul and Claire Hollis. Spiritual Warfare, Strong Man's His Name, What's His Game? The Bait of Satan. John Eckhart, Deliverance Topical Bible. And listen to this. You can click and hear a deliverance session by Apostle Eckhart. And I've done a lot of trainings through him online when he would have free online trainings as well. So there's so many books that I've read, but these are some of the ones that you can start with. That's pretty good. And then for schedule of events, I put the Birthing Purpose workshops events when they're coming up. They're here. And that is on my website. Yes, that's it.
Yes, I'm excited. I actually had a friend to register for the class. She's very excited.
Oh gosh, she's good. She is ready to work in on what God has called her to do. She's going back to school. Gone.
Told you. I will be sending people your way. I will be pushing this out. Matter of fact, when is the next workshop, Lana?
I'm working on scheduling that now.
Okay.
I just had one yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday. What's today? Today is Monday? No, Monday. Saturday. I had one Saturday.
Saturday. So that's the one she attended?
Yes, she is. Yes, she was there Saturday. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, she was there.
I will be pushing it out.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'll schedule it and then throw it up on the website.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with your audience, with your viewers, sharing your journey. I learned a lot. I gleaned a lot, and it was a privilege and an honor to interview you about your birthing process. Amazing job. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.